Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the video. So today I want to sit down and talk about a couple things about mixing beats. Important things that I think every producer should know when mixing trap beats. These are just 5 or 6 things. I wrote them down. General, just things I just thought of randomly the other day that you should just kind of know. So let me record my screen. Alright, so this is a melody that I was making the other day for that melody video. I didn't add any drums, so really quickly I'm just gonna 140 BPM, classic trap beat. I'm gonna add some drums and just make this into more of a beat, and then I'm gonna mix it a little bit and talk about the things I want to talk about. I think something important that I usually touch on, I've touched on it a few times, is having an interface. When I was able to get an interface, you can turn up the volume knob on the interface, so it's not like your desktop audio. So what you can do when you're mixing, notice how on this keyscape and on this omnisphere, which are my 2 melodies right now, and it's at minus 18 decibels is the highest it's going, is negative 18. You want to keep your mix really low off the start, just so you have enough room to build off of it, and then you can turn up all of the other sounds off of that. That's actually the first thing I want to talk about before we even get into it here, but I'm gonna add a couple drums, the G's kick. I like to add 2 different hi-hats just to give it some more, just to make it more dynamic. It's like one of those things you don't notice, but it makes the beat really sound good. All right, so the second thing I want to talk about is kind of where everything hits on a beat, and specifically the things I want to talk about, like the kick and the 808 for trap beats anyway. So this G's is very punchy. As you can see, it's compressed already, but if you go into the EQ, usually a kick is gonna hit around these frequencies right here. Somewhere in this range right here is usually where a kick will hit. It depends on the kick. Like I always try to emphasize that there's no right and wrong to any of this stuff. And there are a lot of kicks that aren't gonna hit in that range at all. They're just gonna hit in the low frequencies. But for trap beats and for the kicks that I like to have that punch too. So if you want a punchy kick, those are the 2 ranges they're gonna hit in. And see this middle range right here between 100 and 200, that's where your 808, that's where that's where the real what the f am I trying to say? That's where the real volume and mass is gonna come from. This 808 is around this area right here. It's between where the kick is really punching on the frequency. And it's tricky because a lot of people have problems with this, because the 808 does hit in this low end too, where the kick is also hitting. So it's a real big balance to where you want your 808. And that's why distortion and all that stuff helps in the 808, because it brings out this middle range right here, as well as this high end, which kind of helps emphasize the 808. Obviously, these 2 kicks in the 808, they don't need to be EQ'd or anything, because they're in my kit and I already did all that stuff. I already compressed them and EQ'd them and did all this stuff to make them perfect. I don't know if we're doing numbers or what we're doing, but the fourth 1, 2, 3. The fourth thing I want to talk about was the sounds matter. And what I mean by that is, I always just see videos of engineers. You always see them and they're bringing up their channel rack when they're mixing a song, and it's just so I added multi-band compressor onto this kick, and I also added this and this and this, and they're mixing all these things. If you get the right sounds and you have enough of sounds that you can be like, oh, this is where this kick will fit in, this is where this clap will fit in, blah 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 blah, you can just plug it in and just level them. And then depending on what type of song it is, then that engineer can mix it from there. When it comes to the beat, you should just be able to plug it in and get sounds that are gonna work, and just level them like this and just move on to the next one. So this is a mistake that I made when I was starting my first year of making beats, my first couple years of making beats. Don't EQ too much out of the melody. Specifically, especially with an 808. Say I have these 2 melodies right here, and I go in and EQ all the low end out of here. In your head, you're thinking, oh, I gotta make room for the 808. So let me just, the 808 goes here. I need to EQ all this out. which makes sense, right? It makes sense. But what I've noticed from mixing beats, if you take out all that low end, the 808 is just gonna be sitting there on its own. That 808 is just gonna be sitting in this low end by itself, and if you listen to that, it just sounds weird. It's just here's the 808 and here's the melodies, when in my opinion you want everything to just mix together and be one fluid beat, so that you're just listening like this and you can hear the 808s, you can hear the melodies, but they're not separate. And number 6, the final thing on here, which I've already said like 8 times in this tutorial, is every sound is different, every beat is different. Just about learning these little skills and traits in these YouTube videos, and just by practicing, when you hear a beat you go, okay, this has a lot of high end, so I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna blah blah blah, I'm gonna put this compressor here, every beat is gonna have some sort of different mixed element to it. And that's why like engineers have such pride in what they do. It's they get a new song in their inbox, they sit there and listen to it, and it's just like a game. Like, how do I fit this puzzle all together to make it perfect and to make it that so the person likes it. All right, so that was my spiel. That was my shtick. I don't know how good I did at explaining that, but I just had some different little things I want to talk about for mixing. I'm gonna go through now and finish this beat. You guys can watch me finish it. I also need to put out this fucking I need to finish this grocery preset that you guys have been all asking me how to download it. I just noticed I had a little thing coming out of my hat for the whole video. But that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm happy with that beat. That beat's fire. I'm happy with this video. Make sure you subscribe. Shout out to everyone supporting. Shout out to everyone that's been supporting. Shout out to everyone that stays supporting. I'm going to keep leveling up on this channel. Yeah, I actually got some new music on the way, so go follow me on Spotify. Go follow me on Instagram. Stay up to date with what I'm doing. And it's lit. We're out here making beats. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yo, Kyle, this shit's crazy.